It's Wednesday, May 6th, 2015, and welcome to the Alien Invasion number 143. And if you were looking at your podcasts last week, I numbered last week's episode wrong. It's like 121 or something like that. So I'm sorry for the confusion. This is number 143, a production, of course, of galacticnetcast.com. That chuckle is Brad Ludwig. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing fairly well, actually.
Anything?
What's new with you? Let's not focus on me, Dave. We do that a lot. Let's focus on you.
Okay. Let's see. I learned tonight that my wife had an old computer that she told me had a blue screen of death on it. She thought it was dead. I brought it back to life. I have a disk with Ubuntu on it, and I installed it, and it's almost a brand new computer. That's my little project. Yeah.
So what tentative plans do you think you have for it?
That's going to be the upstairs computer. Although it's pretty fancy. It's actually might be nicer than my computer that I record the shows on. So I may flip them. I may use that one for production and bring mine upstairs.
Hang on, I got something for that.
Okay. What?
And no, I don't. I don't know what's going on with my computer's been acting a little off lately. I had some applause for you, but I got nothing, buddy.
And then that's funny because our soundboards at soundboard.com, they all disappeared. So I don't have anything either.
It's like we're going to have a soundless episode. Well, any sound that you hear, ladies and gentlemen, will be put in what we call post or after we do the show.
Yes. Magic. It's like magic, Brad.
It's the magic of like radio or television or, in this case, podcasting.
All right, let's jump into it. This is the podcast where we talk about beings from elsewhere in the universe and their appearances in film, TV, video games, comic books, science, and real life. I have it capitalized for some weird reason. I don't know. The show is sectioned off into three areas: the news, the sightings. Yes, I changed that again. What was it first? It was the creature feature. Then it was Craft Corner. Now it's sightings. I don't know. I can never keep something the same for very long. And our picks.
Gotta mix it up. Keep it fresh.
Yes. If you want to join us, we actually record the show on YouTube. So what you want to do is on Wednesdays, or just follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and we will we'll pump out where we're going to be. And you can click the link and join us as we record this show. So let's start it with the news. Isn't that jingle nice?
Wow. God, every time I hear it, it's like the first time, Dave.
Okay. All right. So I got the first story. Area 51 aliens have their own school in High School 51.
What?
It's an original series from the digital media company Machinima, which is an amazing story when you think about it, because all Machinima used to be is gameplay, right? It used to just be people, they recorded their whatever video game they were playing at the time. That's huge on YouTube. And now they're creating and they're distributing like original content. And this is guess who they have on board for this without looking on the doc? If you looked on the doc earlier, you can.
No, I always come into that. I have no idea what we're doing until we actually. No, I'm making that up. But I did not look at the story. I only looked at the one that I put in. I'm going to say Freddie Wong to do the effects. Is that the surprise?
No, I don't even know who Freddie Wong is. Who's Freddie Wong?
He's I believe that he posts some of his stuff on Machinima as well. And he's worked. Sorry.
I love when we go off on tangents. This is fun.
Well, no, it is relevant. Some of his stuff has been on Machinima, and he's done Video Game High School, and he's done a lot of like in home or video production and stuff like that. If you get the chance, he's a video effects artist. I mean, there's no two ways about it. He's incredibly talented, and I thought, wow, if you're going to do something like that, it's Machinima. Wouldn't that be cool if they got Freddie Wong, one of their own people to come in and do that? But
How about somebody Hollywood, somebody
What?
huge who's worked on major motion pictures, on other TV shows? We're talking Roberto Orci, or
What?
Robert Orci. I don't know. I never know how to pronounce his name. Yeah. He is a writer and producer on this internet show. Remember back in the remember only a few years ago when original content online wasn't that big of a deal. Now it's like huge because you
Yeah.
got your Netflix, like your Daredevils and your what's the Kevin Spacey
House of Cards.
House of Cards, Orange is the New Black. Then you got Hulu's doing original stuff. Now
Yeah.
places like YouTube and Machinima are, and Robert Orci is writing and producing this show called High School 51. It's also produced by Orlando Jones. Remember Orlando Jones?
Holy crap. Yeah.
He was what, the Sprite guy back in the day? For the Sprite commercials? Or some soft drink.
Yes, and he was recently on Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah. He left that show to go to this show. He's producing it with his own production company, his newly formed production company, along with Robert Orci. It's called High School 51, and basically it here's the breakdown of this. He's according to Variety, High School 51 is centered around Dream Lake High School in the heart of Area 51, populated by a wholly alien student body. So this school is all aliens until the arrival of 16-year-old Alex Valencia, the first and only human ever to attend Dream Lake, who not only faces the challenge of fitting in, but also saving the human race.
What?
Yeah. So Machinima had like their upfront this week, announced all their new shows, and there was a few other ones. They actually partnered with DC as well to do a couple of shows. And Wes Craven, I think, is also on board for a show through Machinima. So they are definitely stepping up, and this one sounds kind of interesting.
Huh.
The new destination. The online is the place to be, man.
It really is. It really is.
When I go ahead.
I seeing, original content. That's the biggest thing. Here I am stumbling over my words. Original content is hard to come by without major strings attached. If you want to get a TV show done through a network, wow, you got to go through so many hoops to make that happen. Well, if you have financial backing and there are other outlets that are available for you to put this kind of content out, and I think we've reached a new golden age of entertainment, a new golden age of creativity that is such a blank canvas at this point that I think we're going to see a lot of great things through different outlets. I think that would be my only complaint. And maybe that's just my old school mentality because, when we were kids, back in my day, you were lucky if you had 3 or 4 channels that you could watch. You had the ABC, the CBS, the NBC, and you had some UHF channel like PBS to watch.
Yeah, PBS. We had in the Twin Cities, we had like a independent couple of. We were lucky; we had a couple of independent channels, and then in the '90s, Fox, or late '80s and early '90s, Fox came in. So it's a lot more fractured. There's stuff scattered all over the place, and you're right. There's not one portal for everything online. Maybe somebody will put together something if they can get all the APIs of all these places. Of all this
well, that would be a Tom Merritt question.
Yeah,
I bet you Tom Merritt could tell you, oh, you need to do this.
Mm-hmm. There might be one already. Possible.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Okay. So are you interested? Does this sound intriguing to you, the High School 51?
I would give it a shot just because Orlando Bloom's acting in Sleepy Hollow, I enjoyed his captain character very much. And I won't hold, what was that movie that he made with David Duchovny, The Evolution?
That's right, yeah. He was playing some pretty wacky characters for a while.
Yeah, I won't hold that against him. That was actually kind of an entertaining movie, but he has such a great range, and to see that he's like parlayed this into production and doing something cool like this, I would definitely give it a shot.
Okay. This reminds me kind of like a reverse Roswell. Remember that show, Roswell? It's on the
Yeah.
WB, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of reverse of that.
It was Space Dawson's Creek. Yes, I remember.
All right, let's move on to the second story of the week, and it's something you dug up.
Well, not technically. I had an assist.
Okay.
UFO conference shows off Roswell alien photos discovered in attic. We're sticking with the alien/Roswell theme here. I'm always highly dubious when somebody says, "Hey, check this out. We found this in a cellar, or we found this in an attic, or we found this in a broom closet." But here it is. UFO enthusiasts have been awaiting the unveiling of the so-called Roswell Slides for months, hoping to finally know the truth of the Area 51 crash. Many UFO enthusiasts believe that the U.S. government found a crashed alien vehicle at the site in 1947. The slides on Kodachrome film were revealed by a team headed by Dr. Edgar Mitchell, an astronaut who walked on the moon.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. No images have been released in advance of the event, but the slides supposedly show the remains of a dead alien. The slides were supposedly taken by Bernard A. Ray, an oil exploration geologist who worked near Roswell in the 1940s. Let me ask you.
Okay.
If you were on a military base that was guarded, that had fencing around it, would you invite an oil exploration geologist to just stop on by with his camera and take some slides of a dead body you found out in the desert?
Well, okay. Here's the thing. This is back in 1947. Things were more loosey-goosey back then. And also, it was in Roswell, New Mexico. Roswell, New Mexico was and still is kind of out in the Wild West, out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, remember that whole story of the guy releasing the statement saying, "We found aliens," and then they retracted it? I think he was just kind of like, "Hey, let's do it." So if it's something along the lines of that, then that fits with just letting some guy on the base take a picture.
I mean, we're at the dawn of the Cold War, us hating the Russians. So a strange craft lands on your back doorstep, and you're going to go, "Hey, Joe Bob, oil exploration dude, geologist, stop on by with your camera and snap some photos." I'm highly dubious of this whole thing here, but we'll finish this out and you can make up your mind. UFO sites such as Inquisitor. That's a very Inquisitor is a very interesting spelling for it.
One of those words you have to say really fast.
You do. I wimped out and I slowed down. Inquisitor described the Roswell slide images as the smoking gun, which proves that aliens exist, but others suggest they are a hoax. Really. The pictures were supposedly found in an envelope in an attic. Researcher Anthony Bargalia said, what is depicted here really, oh my, I apologize. What is depicted is really there, accurately reflected in the emulsion as the actual moment in time in 1947. I want to see carbon dating. Science is...
Can I take a pause here real quick?
Sure.
You're playing the Alien Invasion drinking game. Drink because Brad stumbled over a word.
Oh Lord, tonight is not my night. You are going to get so drunk you won't even know your own name by the time we're finished.
I hope I'm not being offensive, because I wasn't trying to be mean. I just thought that was...
No, I wasn't offended. You're stating fact, my friend. You're stating fact.
Okay. We're all not immune to this. I mean, I trip over my stuff all the time. So
yeah, I'm still getting... I'm wearing my glasses and I'm doing stuff close up. Maybe that's the problem. I'm going to take my glasses off and we'll give it another go here. Science has weighed in and has determined that these are real slides that are really from 1947. The only conclusion: this humanoid is not a deformed person, mummy, dummy, simian, or dead serviceman. It is not a creature that finds its origin on Earth. Nigel Watson, author of the UFO Investigations Manual, concluded, in the case of the Roswell slides, the anonymous discoverers of it only assumed it was the Roswell alien, plus the pictures are poor quality and look as if they were taken of a mummy in a museum. Now, I am going to do, and this is for our YouTube viewers, I am going to share my screen.
And we can debate over whether this is a real deal or not.
And I have chosen the wrong screen here. Let me try this again. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's Infinite Dave.
Infinite
cool.
Dave. All right, let me do this properly. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully, I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. So what we have here is, this is a picture of the slide, or one of the slides. And here is a little body with a large head that is in a
very large head. One could call it bulbous.
Yeah, it's definitely football or basketball sized, more basketball sized almost. It is humanoid. It has longer legs and shorter arms, a bulbous head. It is in a state of decay where we are seeing the ribs, we're seeing the bones, but not to the point where the skin is dried and sort of saran wrapped itself. It is very tight over this corpse.
One could see this body and think that it might be a human body that's been out in the desert for a while, that maybe for some reason the head got bigger because of being out in the elements. And don't you think it could be possibly a human body?
I'm calling shenanigans on this. I really am. I'm not impressed. I'm not swayed by this at all. I think we've been burned as people for far too many times for this to be real. And quite honestly, I don't think that the government, as soon as the government caught wind that this was out there, I think they would descend upon it like a pack of jackals, and it would disappear. It'd be gone.
Okay. I think a lot of people are let down by this because they were saying this was the definitive evidence. This is going to prove finally that aliens do exist, and aliens were in a craft that crashed near Roswell in 1947. And to me, this is not definitive evidence.
No. I mean, unless you constructed a time machine and went back to the event and witnessed it yourself, you are not going to be convinced of anything, period. Because we've reached a point in technology where we can fake video, we can fake film, we can fake pictures, we can fake everything. And I don't believe we as a society are becoming more and more from Missouri, the show me state. We need proof. We need to have some kind of verifiable evidence, and there just is no way to get verifiable evidence of Roswell. It's not possible. So,
all right. Okay. You heard it here first. Maybe not first, but you heard it here. All right. Is that it? Is that all you want to say about
that's I think I've said more than enough on the subject.
That's all I got to say about that.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Third and final news story this week. Alien abduction bug caused male pregnancies among men who woohooed with aliens in Sims 4.
Didn't we
No.
talk about this previously? Not this specifically, but the fact that you can get to aliens and have aliens in Sims 4.
Yeah, I think we talked about this same expansion pack. Or no, we talked about the shortcut, the tricks to getting your, I think it was not a ship, but it was more of a
It was a
time.
wormhole I think you created.
Yeah, and you jump through it and you land on the alien planet, you hang out with them, then you come back. This is more of being abducted by aliens, you woohooed with them, and then supposedly there's an inordinate amount of men getting pregnant in Sims 4 because they did it. And it's a bug. It's been fixed since then. There's not as many men getting pregnant because they woohooed with aliens, but it seems to be that men are still getting pregnant in Sims 4 because of this expansion pack.
I'm checking out these pictures. Okay, for the YouTube folks, you really need to check us out at Galactic Netcasts. I'm sorry, YouTube.com. Good Lord, YouTube.com. Take another drink. YouTube.com/Galactic Netcasts to see the visual aspects of this. But you tell this is the most surreal thing that you will see. Here is a guy that looks kind of like Tony Stark.
Yep.
And a very fit individual, and he is very pregnant. And there he is rubbing his bulbous belly and hanging out over it looks like it's going to pop out and shoot into that bassinet.
That's just the second time that we've used the word bulbous in this podcast.
It is.
We're going to have to work that into the title somehow.
It's a sign.
No, he looks like he's enjoying being pregnant.
I don't, maybe, I don't know. He looks like he's really eaten a very bad meal that's going to explode out of his lower intestines.
Oh, my tummy hurts.
Oh. And he's just going to explode into that bassinet.
I have a question for you, Brad.
Yes. Bulbous bassinet. Boom.
Bulbous bassinet. Okay. I'll write that down. Okay, here's the question. If the alien was good enough looking, you had a shot to woohoo with an alien that was looking pretty good. Would you woohoo with her with the chance of, if there's the chance that you would get pregnant in Sims 4?
Playing the game? Sure, why not?
Okay. Yeah, I guess nothing gained, nothing,
It has no real consequences in the real world. Now, if we're talking real world, would I have sex with a female alien? Well, first off, I would have to not have a girlfriend. Second off,
that's not like that's not on the list of exceptions, I don't think.
I don't know. No. But it was just an alien. No, you don't get a free pass on that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
Okay. All right. So, take your risk, take your chance if you're playing Sims 4. Maybe you already know about this, the listeners, if you play Sims 4 with the expansion pack. Maybe you've gotten pregnant. We'd love to hear from you. And there's several ways that you can get a hold of us. We love feedback. galacticnetcasts@gmail.com. galacticnetcasts@gmail.com. Also, you can call our voicemail number, 805-328-3966. 805-328-3966. And Brad, there's one more way you can get us a voice message, right?
Absolutely, there is. There's a great little thing. If you go to galacticnetcasts.com, on the right-hand side of the screen, there is a panel. And if you click it, it even tells you what it's all about. But if you click it and you have a microphone attached to your computer, you can actually leave a message on the website, and then that audio is emailed to us.
Yeah, it's even easier if you're on your smartphone.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. I think there might be an app that you have to download, but it's a very small download, and this is a plugin for WordPress, so you'll probably run across it somewhere else as well.
I don't know. When I did it, it pretty much was automatic. I don't remember.
Maybe it's an iPad thing, because when I used my iPad, I had to do that. And iPad isn't necessarily rigged for audio. So
Okay. All right. So yeah, give us some feedback. We love hearing from you guys, and we love using you guys as part of the show. Whenever we have feedback, we throw it in at the end of the show, and you'll be on the podcast if you leave us feedback. So do it.
That was our prompt.
All right, it's time for settings. Sightings. So I dug this one up. It sounds really cool. It's a sighting of a hammerhead-shaped UFO, like a hammerhead shark, I'm guessing.
Okay.
I think. So this is from 2013. An expert witness filed an official report documenting a UFO sighting in January of 2013 in Georgia. The witness had a military background. He was an anti-aircraft gunner, actually. So this is the kind of guy that is trained in knowing what's what up in the air, right? Because you have to know what to shoot for if you're an anti-aircraft gunner, correct?
Yes, absolutely you do.
Okay. This, however, appears to be a very unusual aircraft. The witness was heading home when he looked up and noticed what he first thought was a helicopter towing something underneath it. As he neared the object, he realized it was an object like nothing he'd seen before. The witness described the object as being hammerhead shaped, with a long extension extending out of the bottom. At the bottom end of the extension was another hammerhead shaped object, about 25% smaller than the top one. As the witness quoted, it looked like something out of Star Trek. The object moved slowly, about 3 to 4 miles per hour, and flew low, about 500 feet off the ground. The witness told MUFON, "Very strange. I am still in awe, and I've never seen an aircraft like that. And I know just about every military aircraft there is." There have been other reports similar to this, with similar shaped objects in the Groom Lake area. Groom Lake, of course, is, Brad?
That's up by Area 51.
Yes, it's Groom. That's the official name of Area 51, is the Groom Lake Military or Air Base.
Yes.
So, perhaps the aliens. I just thought about something. Maybe it's alien based, but it's one of those alien crafts that the military took and kind of like back engineered, figured out how it worked, and then they're testing it. They're flying it around.
That would be something there. I could see that. Yeah.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So
I know I have a few. I know that people mistake the B-2 bomber for an alien aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps this is another military craft that they're quietly testing, but is still being seen, and we're going to have it released to the general public to actually see this thing soon. Maybe, who knows?
This is one of the most intricate and unusual shaped aircraft that we've brought up on the show. Because let me run this down again. He described the object as being hammerhead shaped, with a long extension extending out of the bottom. At the bottom end of the extension was another hammerhead shaped object, about 25% smaller than the top one. That sounds very intricate. Sounds like there's a lot going on there. And it was moving rather slowly and pretty not very far off the ground. So, interesting, intriguing. Hey, we were talking about feedback before. If any of the listeners have seen anything as far as a sighting goes, if you've seen something in the air that you can't explain, we would love to hear. Definitely. So galacticnetcasts@gmail.com. Our voicemail number is 805-328-3966. Or like Brad said, go to the website, galacticnetcast.com, and leave your audio message there of what you saw that you can't explain. And maybe your sighting could be our sighting here on the Alien Invasion. All right, let's move on to picks, Brad.
Actually, before I jump into the picks, For those of you who are a part of the Galactic Core, you know about our Facebook group page, which is for everybody, for all of us to be a part of and share information and whatnot. And I added tentative rules for the Galactic Netcast's drinking game. Okay.
All right. This is awesome.
Okay, cool. So far, and I'm going to ask that you listeners add to this. And actually, we should probably put a pin on this. I'm going to pin the post.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Pin it.
I'm going to pin it, so it's going to be towards the top. And the rules for the Galactic Netcast drinking game: take a drink when Dave stumbles over a word. Mm-hmm. Brad says that was our prom theme. Anessa says that's what she said. Those are the three, and it should be specific to a person who is on one of the shows or the Galactic Net Bites. So that's Matt Stein, that's Amy Frost, that's JF DeBow, that's Glenn Bittner, that's Daryl Johnston. That's everybody that contributes.
Ryan Murphy.
Ryan, absolutely. So
Gregor Spragg.
And Gregor, oh good Lord.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah. And pretty soon Corey Scott. Oh wait. No. Wait, we're not supposed to talk about that yet, are we?
Yeah, you need to add one more rule on there. That is when you say back in my day.
Brad's old man voice. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So please join our Facebook group because it's a fun group already. I mean, it's more of it's not a traditional Facebook page where we just post things and you read it and maybe like it or maybe comment on it. This is like a community. It's like we want you to contribute. We put stuff on there. Like I'm on there. Brad's on. We're all on there. So you can have conversations with us and share things and read things. It's fun. And now you can play the official Galactic Netcast drinking game. Thank you, Brad. That's awesome. Good idea.
And Amy Frost is already adding little bits, and she's now included JF DeBow. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to end up with the pinned posts. We're going to have an update, like a continual update based on the comments, and we'll just keep going with it here for a while and see where it takes us.
Once we have enough rules, we should totally play the drinking game as we're doing the podcast.
Oh God! Only if all of us take a vacation day after the podcast.
Because one thing's going to feed into the other, right? Because we start doing the things that cause the drinking, then we drink, and then we loosen up, and that causes even more of those issues that we started with the drinking to begin with.
Yes. Oh, that's going to be sad. It's going to be a bunch of us middle-aged people like being horribly sick the next day from shenanigans.
Too old for this.
Yep, much like Murtaugh. I'm much too old for this.
Okay, let's move on to picks. These are things that we've watched, listened to, read, played with, whatever. Something alien related, and Brad's up first.
I've mentioned before that I'm really rediscovering my love of the Twilight Zone and how awesome of a writer that Rod Serling was. And he wrote some magnificent episodes, and one of them is the episode that I watched for my pick this week. And it's episode 22 from season 1, and the episode is called "The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street." Now I want you to picture this. Of course, is the original, so it's black and white, and a lot of the themes are explorations in the human condition. A lot of them are what ifs, and there are. And this is a point in time where the space race is really ramping up. We're competing with the Russians to get satellites in space and to dominate space, because that is the next frontier. And whoever dominates space probably is going to win the Cold War. And so alien themes are thrown in here from time to time. And in this particular episode, the backdrop for this is Midwestern America, and it takes place on a small little street in the suburbs called Maple Street. And it's all these different households and everybody's out, and it's a sunny weekend day, or you're gathering it's a weekend day because there are children and adults all hanging out together and enjoying the sunshine. And a loud noise and a bright flash sustains for a little bit, and then it goes away. And you see in this snapshot of the heartland of America, people descending into paranoia, into fear, wondering what this is, because all of a sudden appliances are no longer working, the power is out, the phones don't work, cars don't start.
Ooh.
And one of the children mentions that, hey, I saw this in a comic book once, and something like this happened, and it turned out that there was a family of aliens and nobody knew who they were, and they came as a force to kind of mess around with people in a neighborhood, and it devolves from that. And the community, this group at the very beginning of this thing, slowly begin to pull themselves apart, and it's every person for themselves. And I don't want to give away the ending. I've given away quite a bit, but what's said at the end, as in every episode of The Twilight Zone, really is a solid comment on the human condition. And the beauty of Serling's work is it's as true today as it was back then. I think we mentioned in an episode of the Sci-Fi Geeks Club where we talked about our favorite sci-fi shows, and I feel horrible that I cannot remember our guest for that particular episode. Shoot,
I don't remember.
I apologize. But you could produce this today, it would still be just as true now as it was then, and that was the beauty of his work and his writing. And I can't recommend enough going back. And I watched it on Hulu. That's right. Or was it Netflix? No, I watched it on Netflix. I apologize. It was Netflix. And you can watch. I had somehow gotten up to season 5 for some reason, and I'm definitely not that far yet. But they have at least 5 seasons. I didn't shoot beyond that. But that's a lot of episodes you get to watch, because they really put out a lot of episodes in that time period. So please check out Twilight Zone if you love alien themed stuff, if you love sci-fi themed stuff. There's so much wonderful, not just horror, but alien and sci-fi stuff for you to enjoy. And yeah, the visuals might be a little dated, but it's the themes and the story that are really the things that get you, and that's really what you watch the Twilight Zone for.
I think Twilight Zone, as well as shows like Star Trek, used science fiction to get a bigger message across. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think it was a way to soften the blow, and by couching it in science fiction, if you didn't couch a lot of the stuff that in Star Trek in science fiction, it would have come across as preachy, pretentious crap. Yeah, and nobody would have.
Race relations. There were some other pretty heavy issues that they dealt with because it was in science fiction. Because it was wrapped in science fiction, people were fine with it.
Yes, it was more palatable, and people could kind of pass it off. But for the people that were really paying attention, they could take something away from it, and that was really the point of Star Trek, of that work, and it's just as true with the Twilight Zone. So that is my pick.
I've said all along, Brad, that not all along, but for a while now, that they could remake the Twilight Zone today, and like they could go back and remake all those episodes, and they'd be just as good. I think they're the stories are just as true today as they were then.
Yeah, you could grab those scripts and maybe with minor tweaks to update, some things, setting newer technologies that exist and incorporate that. But with very little tweaking, you could pull that into a contemporary setting, and it would be just as good.
Get on it, Hollywood. Come on.
Yeah, we need
What are you
more
waiting for?
remakes.
Yeah. Hey, now might as well. You're on this remake thing that's going on right now, remaking every single thing. Stuff that doesn't need to be remaked. Full House, I'm talking to you. Something like the Twilight Zone's perfect for remaking. So what just do it. Urgh. Okay.
Do you feel
Thank
better
you,
now?
Brad.
You're welcome.
Yes, I do. Ranterson. Okay. All right, my pick is a movie that I watched today on Netflix called War of the Worlds, Goliath. This was really awesome. If you liked the original War of the Worlds in whatever form you watched it, you will like this as well. It's an animated film, kind of done in the Japanese manga style. And
Okay.
another reason to like it is it's very much like alternate history, steampunkish thing. Because okay, I'll just run down the official description, not the official description, but the description from IMDb. A retro futuristic epic of steampunk battle set in 1914. It's been 15 years since the original H.G. Wells' Martian invasion. Fearing another attack, the human race has prepared itself. This is the story of the battle tripod Goliath and its young crew. Goliath is the vanguard of an army of steam-powered battle walkers, heat ray biplanes, and armored zeppelins facing a Martian fleet of giant fighting machines and flying wings. Within the cockpit of Goliath, courage under fire, conflicted loyalties, and the struggle to save Earth is this in this new War of the Worlds. And it was awesome because they took the original story, which originally it was set back in, turn of the 19th into the 20th century. And this happens 15 years later, and they've taken this technology that they got from the aliens and they've advanced everything. So you've got your biplanes, but it's got stuff on it that you wouldn't see until way, way, way far ahead in time. And in fact, it's like the heat rays, which we don't even have now. That is borrowed from the aliens. Then they've got these walkers, which are awesome. Then they have the armored zeppelins, which I love because it's almost Brad. It's almost like the helicarrier from Marvel.
Sure. Okay.
Because it's got the guns on it, and it's got smaller craft that can launch from these armored zeppelins. And one of the cool parts of it is this takes place in 1914, and they were about to do some war games because they knew the Martians were coming back. They could, I guess, they said that Mars was close enough for the Martians to come back, and they could tell that they were on their way back to Earth for another invasion. And they were about to do a war game when Franz Ferdinand got assassinated, just like it did in our timeline. And then the aliens attack, and they're like, we don't have time for this. We're not going to go to war over this stupid thing because the aliens are coming. We have to defend ourselves from these bigger threat. So World War I was averted because of the alien invasion. How cool is that?
Interesting.
Alternate history and alternate like future stuff is so cool to me. It's like parallel universe, but not. I mean, it is a parallel universe deal, but I just love how they took elements of history that we know, but then juiced them up, made them cooler. And you can see it all for yourself in War of the Worlds, Goliath, and it's currently on Netflix. So that's my pick.
Nice.
Are you pretty impressed that I picked some animation? Because that's very not usually in my wheelhouse.
I had to click into it and double check and redouble check to make sure that I wasn't mishearing what you were saying, because I'm beside myself because that is darn near completely unbelievable. Good for you, Dave. Good for you.
Thank you very much. All right, before we get out of here, we got some feedback from one of our longtime listeners, fans, and contributor. He is the host of your Who Knew Galactic Net Bite, Daryl Johnston. He reached out to us on Twitter because of our conversation last week of the what was it? The Farscape 1, right?
Yes, the Farscape 1 from the sci-fi series called Farscape.
And at the time, you said that it looked very much like a experimental NASA craft, kind of like a not swept wings, but it looks like a smaller version, a more compact and sleeker version of the space shuttle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So he tweeted to us a picture of what looks like both of them, the original concept for the NASA spacecraft and the Farscape 1. One is on top of the other. And we'll put this in the show notes of this podcast so you can see for yourself. But Brad, which is which?
The Farscape 1 is on top.
Okay.
And the X-33 is the actual craft that they were that they actually have or have. I can't remember if they actually made. I thought they made the X-33. Hang on. Now I'm
they may have made it, but it never got into orbit. I don't think it ever got launched.
Let's see. Yeah, NASA cancellation. It was 85% assembled, 96% of the parts, and the launch facility was 100% complete, and they canceled it in 2001.
There's your government in action right there, folks. tax dollars down the tube. Good job.
Yeah. They had problems with the propulsion and excess weight and
Okay.
Oh,
so maybe a good thing was canceled.
Yeah, it may have been potentially very devastating to the space program if it had gone ahead.
All right, one more bit of feedback from Daryl as well. He answered a question about pigeons last week because what was it? I was talking about. Oh, yeah, my story was the sightings of some unidentified flying objects in New York, and one of the eyewitness was a person that raised pigeons on the roof of his building.
Yes.
And Daryl said there are two types of pigeon fanciers. There's the racers and the breeders that enter shows. And we weren't sure. We weren't sure what people did with the pigeons. And now we do. They either race them or they breed them to go into like pigeon shows, which is kind of weird.
Well, I mean, they have a Westminster Dog Show. It would make sense that they have shows for birds.
Question mark?
Sort of. That was my implied, I guess.
Okay. Birds. Okay, so feedback. We would love to hear your thoughts on things. If you want to correct us, if we were wrong on something, if you want to add to a dangling, like Daryl's good at kind of finishing our thoughts on things, because we start subjects and we never really get the answers, but then Daryl's really good at coming in with the answers. So thank you, Daryl, for doing that. And if you want to,
saves us from ourselves.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at Galactic Netcast. We're also on Facebook. We've got the Facebook page, but we'd really love you to join the Facebook group to be part of the community. So look for the Facebook Galactic Netcast group. We're also on Google+. And please, if you like the show, if you want us to grow, if you want us to get bigger, we really would appreciate it if you would give us 5 stars on the iTunes and leave a positive review. You can also do that on Stitcher. We're on Stitcher as well. But also you can tell your friends and family, if your friends and family are into like geeky sci-fi or science-related alien stuff or anything that Galactic Netcast does, because we've got a bunch of other podcasts, please just tell your friends and family about us, and that helps us as well. We also have a Patreon page if you want to support us financially at patreon.com/Galactic Netcasts. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Alien Invasion. Brad, your final thought, please.
You'd think I'd be ready for it, and I never am. And that's
something else that needs to go in the rules for the drinking game.
Well, no, because at the end of the show, I'd be like, oh well, just take the drink now preemptively because Brad's not going to have anything prepared.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
sometimes Anessa doesn't have something either. So
yeah,
not just
yeah.
you. It's you, my friend.
I'm trying to think of something alien or sci-fi related. I'm okay. Here we go. I'm really kind of sad that people have been jumping all over Joss Whedon for Ultron, for the
Yeah.
portrayal of Black Widow, and I think that that's
Not his
really well. I think it's horrible because some of the things that they're pointing out could be taken in a couple of different ways, and you needed to look at it in full context before you jump down his throat. So there you
He's
go.
actually his mother's actually a feminist, or she was a feminist. Like he grew up in a feminist. That's why he portrays women so well in his movies.
Yeah.
Is he was exposed to that growing up, and it really affected his life. So yeah, I think it's totally he's not to blame for that, for the way Black Widow is portrayed, or the marketing.
Yeah, the marketing was just poor, and I had somebody on the internet was wrong today, Dave, and I wanted to let her know that I felt that she was wrong, and I said something about it. So I did my duty for Queen and Country there. So
Thank you, thank you. Your due diligence is appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, and thank you guys for joining us. That's going to do it for this Alien Invasion. We will talk to you guys next time.
bye, Dad. Oh, wrong show. Sorry.